We're back on the air. This is Radio Entrepreneurs. Again, my name is Jeffrey Davis. I'm not only the host of Radio Entrepreneurs, I'm also CEO and founder of Mage LLC. And I want to thank our hosts for all these segments that we're currently taping. And that is Kevin Smith of Best of Care. Thank you, Kevin. You're my co-host.
Good morning, everybody.
I thought it was very considerate of you to put your chair so substantially lower than mine, Kevin.
I actually found it this way. That was not by design.
Okay, so I like this feeling of domination that you've been able to create for me.
Whatever.
Our next guest, thanks to Jim Farrell, PR First, is Tom Keegan, Senior Partner, MarKee Partners. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Well, why don't you tell Kevin and I what MarKee Partners is all about?
Yeah, well, MarKee Partners, let me first spell it to avoid any confusion. It's MarKee. And we're a consultancy focused in the med tech business. Medical technologies commercialization really is our focus and our expertise. My partner and I, Barry Mostyn, he's out in Denver area, Denver, Colorado. I'm here in the Boston area. Have been in the medical technology industry our entire careers for the past 35 plus years. We met many years ago in the mid 80s, working for a large healthcare company. At the time it was smaller, growing, fastly growing. And we've been working together ever since. And I can go into it in more detail now, unless you have questions. You want me to tell you more about MarKee Partners?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. 35 years, you've got to have some history.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you. All of a sudden you realize. So
I'm on my 35th anniversary too.
Is that right?
I understand that.
Okay.
I keep waiting for someone to fire me.
We're the old guys. Yeah, so interestingly, we've been in the business this whole time. When I met Barry, it's important to talk about how we met and our experiences at the time and what we did since then briefly to understand what MarKee Partners is all about. So at the time, I was working in R&D as a young engineer. I had worked in a few different technical roles at this company, from manufacturing, field engineering to research and development. And I was in research and development, and Barry was a sales professional out in the middle of the country. He's actually was out in Denver at the time. He's lived all over the country since, but has come full circle. He's back there. And we had some interactions in our respective roles, but interestingly, at the same time, we had made decisions, professional decisions, to transition into a marketing role. And he came in from sales into marketing at this company, and I transitioned into marketing from R&D. I had seen the commercialization side of the business and it intrigued me quite a bit. In particular, I looked up to the product managers in the organization, where they were in roles that really impacted the direction of the company. Championing various projects, whether it be new products to be bringing forward to the marketplace to argue the case, or changes to products to either improve or to resolve problems. It really intrigued me, and I got excited about the prospect of doing that. So that was in the mid to late 80s, and what we did at the time, we learned that we had such diverse backgrounds and differing backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives on our jobs and on the world in general that really helped us both grow and appreciate each other and learn a lot in the process. That continues today. So fast forward today, we started MarKee Partners 3 years ago, and that was after long careers, both of us. And it's important to mention something else. We have a lot of experience with early stage companies. Startups, companies trying to launch products into the marketplace. Between us, there's at least 9. I say at least because there's a couple of others that didn't really come forward, just dabbled a little bit, but 9 companies. Wow. And 7 of those led to acquisition. Some of them huge successes, and some of them, moderate, but you don't hit about 1,000 in that world for sure. But we were at this particular company. We both went in different directions after I was there a decade plus. And I went off to another company. Barry went off to another company. He recruited me in to come work for him at this early stage startup. It was a minimally invasive surgical company, surgical instrumentation company that was involved in laparoscopy. It was a minimally invasive, a new method, new modality for cutting and coagulating tissues. And it became a wild success, really. Johnson & Johnson purchased the company, and today it's an over $1 billion franchise. We got the bug back then. That was in the mid-90s. And it was minimally invasive surgery. The opportunity, and still today, but the opportunities for improving care to patients, while at the same time coupling that with a successful business enterprise, was exciting. Just the world of startups. Wearing many hats, your role is very visible, and you can impact the company for good or bad quite a bit. Each individual has has a critical role in the organization, and we've been involved in a number of companies that have been acquired by the likes of, I said J&J, but also Zimmer, Orthopedics, Boston Scientific, and some others as well, lesser known ones. And so many years later, he was in a position of president of a contract manufacturing company. My most recent role was vice president of marketing and professional education for a company that just got acquired by Zimmer. And we were talking about, are we going to just keep doing this again, or should we talked about doing something together for a while, and that's why we started MarKee Partners. And we advise our clients with regards to everything related to achieving commercialization success. That's a lot. We could talk for a long time about this.
It is a lot.
It
You're
means a lot.
helping medical companies take their product to market successfully.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be
Sales, marketing, channel distribution, strategy.
Yes, it includes that, but it could include as well, even before you get there, critical pieces of the puzzle. But early on, and oftentimes we get involved with this early on, whether it's an inventor or inventors, small team, or an early stage entity that's beginning to build up infrastructure, some investment, right on up to Fortune 500 companies. We've had those clients all, because we worked in the big companies too, as well. So usually in the big companies, it's a specific need. They might want a fresh perspective on something, and we'll do that. Oftentimes we're involved with early stage companies that are trying to get going, and we
you're
help
helping
them
with financing as well?
We're not
You're
brokers.
not broker-dealers, I
Yeah,
know.
no. But what we do is, inevitably you have contacts and experiences and relationships, so you can help with that. But we try to leverage, it's a good example of, we try to leverage those that are expert in that area and direct them and guide them. But more importantly, as it relates to assisting with financing, the answer would be yes, we do help them. And the way we help them is make sure they do indeed have a solution that makes sense, that the marketplace will embrace, that the marketplace will pay for, and the users will adopt. And there's a lot of different pieces of that. But so we work, and also, even if you've done all of that, the message that you're delivering, whether it's the message to your team, which is the first thing you need to do. We all need to believe in this to begin with, and believe it's achievable, and be motivated to go. Then investors, you need to tell the story and be able to tell a compelling story and support that with some evidence that, yeah, we can do this. Right on up to tell the marketplace. And that's commercialization execution. And we help them with that from A to Z.
Is it just the two of you, or do you have a staff with you?
It's the two of us formally in the organization. But what we do is we leverage our relationships in the business. I'll give you a couple of examples. There's the area, as you know, probably know, there's a lot of pieces to medical technology commercialization. And some of them, just to mention as examples, the things I've mentioned are pretty wide. I'm saying you need to cover all these bases in order to have commercialization success. I'm glossing over a lot of things, of course. It's a lengthy discussion otherwise. But, regulatory, you need to have proper regulatory approvals. You need to have answered the question about, and you better have answered the question about whether or not someone's going to pay for it. So it's economic and payer concerns, reimbursements. So obviously that topic alone is complex, because you have users, providers, payers. All of those are stakeholders, and particularly important clinical evidence, building clinical evidence to support what you're claiming is crucial to success, right? So those are three examples of where we leverage our relationships with other experts. And sometimes there might be some general guidance that's needed in each one of those areas that we're fine with handling because it's general guidance. But if it requires a deep dive and there's not a lot of work, they don't have expertise under their roof, our client that is, that we would bring in partners. We have business partners in each one of those areas. And I'll give you a particular example right now. We just did a project that required it was for a meniscal repair instrumentation and implant system. This client wanted to bring it into the U.S. market, wanted to understand it from a commercialization entry standpoint, but also needed to understand the reimbursement landscape in this particular area. So we brought in a partner to do that, to thoroughly dive in and help this partner who did not have regulatory reimbursement and economic payer expertise within the organization, and they needed someone. We would partner with someone in that case.
Just to remind everybody, we're speaking with Tom Keegan, Senior Partner, MarKee Partners, and that's because we're being hosted by Kevin Smith of Best of Care. Tom, if somebody was looking for you and MarKee Partners, how would they find you?
Best way to find me is our website. It's markeepartners.com. It's MARKEE partners.com, all one word.
You'll come back again. This is a topic area I'm particularly interested in. I'm an ex-Ethicon guy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, very much so. We'd love to talk.
No, I love listening to you. It's like getting in the Wayback Machine for me.
Yeah.
I want to
happy to do so.
Thank you for being on the show. We're going to
Thank
take
you,
a
Tom.
break. We'll be right back after these messages on Radio Entrepreneurs.